It is that time. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for our first webinar of the year. As a reminder, I'm Trent, Customer Success Director here at Woven. And last year we started kicking off a series of webinars talking about our functionality around people, facilities, and operations. This year, I'd like to approach things a little bit differently. During our normal conversations with all of you, we walk you through highlights that have been added to the feature, new enhancements, things you've asked for, kind of the latest and greatest and what's new. And so that's what this first webinar of the year is going to be. And so there's lots to show you today, and we're going to walk through all of that together. I'm going to record this, and then you're always welcome to watch back the recording or share it with your teams if you would like to. Today, in no particular order, I'm just going to start running through things. And because we have recently switched and upgraded our chat functionality, there's quite a few new things to show you in chat. Good news is we did a release last night. So some of this stuff, you're going to be some of the very first people to know it even exists because it is brand new as of today. So without a whole lot more ado, let's go ahead and jump in it as there's quite a bit here. I am logged in here to a fictitious account called Global Gym. So it's set up to look like a fictitious gym location or gym franchisee. The first thing I want to show you here is in the chat experience. So if I go to my chat here, it's going to look like it used to. But what I want to show you is this new ability when I click into a chat where I am now going to have this button here at the top where I can have Woven AI summarize what I've missed. So in this chat here, I have 14 unread messages. So let's say, let's just fast forward to the future, and it was Friday. I clocked out, went home. I haven't checked my Woven app in a few days, and I log back in on Monday, and I have X number of unread messages. Rather than having to actually scroll through and potentially read all of those, I can have Woven summarize my unread messages over the last 24 hours, the last week, the last 2 weeks, whatever it might be. Let's go ahead and click summarize. And while this does its thing, what this is going to do is it's going to go read through all those messages and give me a nice summary of what's happened. So someone published a schedule. Some of my colleagues were sharing people exemplifying the company values, et cetera, right? So a nice clean summary without me having to read those 14 messages in my case. It's also going to highlight if decisions were made during the conversation in the chat that you missed, or if there's any action items for people that came out of that. You can also regenerate this. For now, this functionality is opt-in only, so it's not configured in your account today unless you would like it to be. So if you reach out to your assigned customer success manager, they can assist you with this. But we know there's some sensitivity as AI technology is rapidly evolving, that not everyone is going to want to utilize this. So today it is opt-in only. So that's the first thing to show. Next, related to our functionality for chat, previously, as of yesterday, when you clicked to add an emoji to your chat messages, there was about 20 work-appropriate emojis that were available to you. Now you have the entire emoji keyboard available to you, with one obvious exception, which is going to be the middle finger emoji is not in that list, but everything else is. So you can share emojis to your heart's content, and that's all there. Additionally, chats can now be favorited. So if you wanted to say, I have a bunch of my colleagues here in this cool kids chat with me, if I go up here and click the star, I'm going to favorite that chat. And now it's going to be at the top of my list when I open my chat threads. You're also going to have the ability to look at a chat like this and see what media has been uploaded. So if someone was sharing pictures or files and attachments, rather than having to scroll through the entire history of a chat, I can come to this section, I can click on media, and I can see what images have been shared in a nice clean view, rather than me having to scroll potentially weeks or months in the past to find the image I'm looking for. In the same way, this current chat doesn't have any uploaded like PDFs or Word docs or Excel files, but those will be here as well under the files section, and you can get to them really easily. You can also see here we've added some preliminary data around activity. So this is a development environment, so people aren't necessarily using it every day. However, you can see on February 10th, my colleague sent 5 messages here. on February 18th. They sent 14 messages and 1 message on February 16th versus 0 messages on Valentine's Day. So you can see activity over time over the last 14 days and ensure that your team is interacting. You've also have the ability now to look at the participants. So these are all the people in this chat. And you're going to see at a glance, is this person, the chat I'm in is in the North Star Plaza. So some of these people work at other locations, but just happen to be in this chat. You'll know where their primary location is in this list. You're also going to see here for people that have set up their notification preferences, what their notification preference is. So here I have Matt, founder of Woven, has his notifications for this location set up as @mention only, and that's going to indicate that here. In the same way, if someone has muted this chat, you'll be able to look at this list and know that they're muted the chat. So you'll have all of that information here. Okay, we'll keep on rolling. Some other things to show you there's not a whole lot to show you here, but I'll just mention that today when you logged into Woven, or if you haven't done that yet, we now support browser notifications. So if you're on your desktop, you are likely prompted to either allow or block Woven from sending you notifications on your desktop computer. I'm already opted in here, so there's not really anything for me to display on that, unfortunately. But we do now have desktop notifications, and it is today specific only to the chat experience. You also now have the ability per user. This is not a global setting for your account, but it is a per user thing. But you can go to My Account, which is located right here. Click on Mobile, and you have the ability now to set quiet hours. So as an example, if I wanted Woven to honor my quiet hours for chat from the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. on the work week, I can save my personal quiet hours, and Woven is now going to suppress notifications, specifically chat, related to this. And this has been a long-standing enhancement that is now a reality. So if you have any team members that would like to do this, they do have to set it up for themselves. As admin of the functionality, you will not be able to set it up on their behalf. This is an individual decision. They can also do this through the mobile app experience. Taking my notes here just for 1 second on chat, and I think we've covered most of the things. One other small thing here is when you are sending media messages, so specifically photos. Previously, if you shared a photo like this, you could upload 1 photo and that was it, right? So, and when I sent a message, I could only do 1 photo at a time and 1 message at a time. Every photo was its own individual message. Now I can upload multiple photos like this into 1 message, which is really just going to save on push notifications. This is going to be 1 text message or notification rather than 2 because I uploaded 2 photos. Relatively small thing, but it should help in the grand scheme of things with the number of notifications. Okay, still staying on the chat topic, but pivoting just a little bit to more of the management side of chat. If I go to the team member management side of Woven and I click into a team member's record here, some things have changed here as well. Most specifically on the chat experience over here, you're going to be able to tell if someone has downloaded the app on their phone and whether they are an iOS user or an Android user. So for troubleshooting purposes, you're going to know that. And Alana isn't a real person in this account, but if they had accepted push notifications to their device, you will see this here and you'll know whether they've blocked or allowed push notifications. So this is a great first line of defense for your managers. If someone says, hey, I missed that message, Woven isn't sending me push notifications, this is a great place to look because it's very possible that when they were prompted to allow push notifications that they clicked block instead of allow. That is the most likely reason a push notification from us would not flow through. And so you have some of that information here. And additionally, if they have not downloaded the app, which this person has, it will be a button here where you can send them a reminder to do so. You also have some activity about this specific person related to chat. So I can see the messages they've sent over the last 30 days. If they've used any profanity, I can click here to get a report of said profanity. I can see how many times they've viewed chat, as well as their overall spikes in activity. I can also change this and look at specific chats. This is their entire chat activity. I could look down into a specific chat thread or team that they are part of and view all of that. So some activity reporting on a per team member level, as well as all the other things we've already showed you so far. Additionally, on this page, it is worth noting that some things have moved around. The notes section here used to be here in the middle column. The tasks section used to be over here on the left. And we have kind of reorganized this page to make room for this new chat activity section. Cool. Staring at my notes here, and I think we covered the items on chat. Yep. Okay. So still staying along that same timeline, or I guess topic, we have this concept in Woven of teams, right? So if you think about a team, some of these teams, if I open up my chat thread here, are things like there is a customer success team in here somewhere, and there is a culture champions and celebrations team and a front desk team. These are all kind of individual chats that you can create, and they can also be used in Woven for targeting purposes for things like announcements, as an example. Today, people that they're using Woven, this functionality is manual, right? So I have to manually add and remove people from these teams, and Woven is not dynamically adding and removing them for me. Now, we have introduced the concept of smart teams. So under a specific team, I can go to the team member settings here, and I can choose manual or smart team. If I choose smart team, I will then be able to determine the criteria. So here I can say this team is going to include people from, let's say, these two locations that have specific positions in Woven. So this is going to be my maintenance team in this case, or those two locations. And Woven is going to be able to automatically identify those people based on their team member profiles and put them in here for you. You can see that right now what I have is an estimated 7 people would automatically get added to this team. So this becomes more set and forget. There is today a current limitation on this, which there is only 200 people can be in one of these smart teams. There is a cap. So note that for your use cases, that it's not necessarily meant for things like all company chat to put hundreds or thousands of people into one chat, but it is more for like, I need a regional manager's chat, or I need a general manager's chat, that kind of stuff. Perfect. Continuing on, we talked about the team member overview updates. So let's move into position hierarchy. In our announcements feature, this is a common use case where people were sending announcements, and just the default behavior, the most common practice was to go into your announcement as a GM or something like that. Very similarly, I target the location that's available to me. And then I also target and just click all because it was the easiest thing to do. Click target everybody and send this announcement. That has caused some friction, right? Where I'm maybe a GM and I'm sending an announcement for my team about road construction on the way to work, and I need to, have people give themselves a little bit more time to show up. But it was going to people because they clicked all, people like the owner of the organization, right? They're the franchisee potentially that doesn't need to know that, or doesn't need a push notification about it, regional directors, and all the way up to your corporate hierarchy. So we have introduced this concept of positional hierarchy. It lives under account settings positions. And if you go to a position, you will be able to manage the hierarchy level. And here, for this position of assistant manager, I can control what is visible in that list for targeting purposes. So in this case, I've said an assistant manager is at a hierarchy level of 10. And so if I was a assistant manager in this account, I would only be able to target the positions underneath that for communications. So this just limits what is available for me to send push notifications around my announcements today. We will likely do more things with this in the future for other features, but today it's announcement specific. Next, if you're using our incident functionality, we have, obviously, you can still always navigate there over here on the left-hand side and go to the incidents functionality like you always could. But similar to the work order experience, we've now added a quick action menu button, which will be just a little bit more user-friendly, a little less clicks. You click this and it'll navigate you straight to the incident to begin to submit it. If you don't have permissions to incidents and to be able to view them, add them, etc., this button does not exist for you or your team members potentially. Similar to just about all of these quick actions, they are security role dependent. Perfect. Next, there are quite a few updates to work orders. I think I'm going to save that for last, and I'm going to talk about a location audit update that's worthwhile. So in location audits, if you have this functionality under settings and under a specific template, you can now do what we're calling bonus points. So using this example in my demo environment, this audit template, whatever it might be, is worth today a total value of 30 points, right? So if I get 30 points, I got 100%. If I get 20, I get less, etc. I can now, on a template basis, add points that are just there that are awarded for simply doing the audit, right? Starting and submitting it is going to award these points. And I can say, all right, just for doing it, they get 10 points. Traditionally, all of our point values were associated to questions and answers and making sure that you answered the right question. And now this is just a bonus point reward for completing it. And that's it. As simple as that. There's a little tooltip here that shows you a little bit more about how this works. But it really is just as simple as that. It's bonus points for completing it. Next, we have work order updates, and there's quite a bit here. I will mention that for everything we've talked about, if you go to the question mark icon in Woven at any time and click on See What's New, there are going to be posts about all these things, right? You can see quiet hours, you can see I've authored a write-up on the work order submission updates. So if you'd like to share that or take a look at it, feel free. There's lots of details on here on how these things work. But I'm going to show it to you on this call as well. So when I click submit a work order, I'm going to start at the first stage here. The overall look and feel of this is different, right? If you've put in a work order in Woven before, this page looks different. The big thing here is for people with multi-location access. This list used to be very long. You didn't have the ability to filter things down or potentially select, like, I just want to look at what's in region, the West region or whatever. You didn't have those filter capabilities. You kind of had to scroll. So we've improved that. For your location managers, right, this is something they might just have to do one time and then Woven will remember it. So let's say I want to put in a work order at this location. I'm then going to choose my method of submission, which has always been a thing. But here I'm going to choose, am I going to search this by asset and category? Am I going to look at the why, like the work order reason, or am I going to barcode scan? Make that determination, and Woven will also remember your preference on that. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to be taken into the step where I need to choose the piece of equipment. And this page has probably had the most updates. The big things here are that the category and the tag numbers are a lot more prevalent. They were used to be up here in the top left and kind of in a small font. They are now like front and center, as well as serial number, console number, also used to be kind of up here in the top in the margins. We've made those a lot more prominent as well because we see that these are the things that people are using to search and find equipment if they are not using barcode scanning. We used to have some symbols here, kind of like you see the tag number. We had a symbol here for like if it was in a room and it was a picture of a door, we've just more clearly identified that this is in room number 1, room number 4, room number 255, etc. Regardless, the actual workflow is the same, but it is aesthetically looking a little bit different. Then I choose my reason, just like I always had. Duplicates used to take up the whole screen. Now this becomes just a smaller, and I can slide it out of the way, as well as the suggestions used to take up the whole screen, and this has also been optimized. The method to the madness here, as I continue to show you the last page, is that today, when you put in a work order through the mobile app, it opens up a web browser and forces you to do it through Safari or Chrome or whatever your mobile web browser of choice is. Changing the UI in this way allows us to now go build this experience into the mobile app. So that is coming soon, and you will no longer have to be redirected. I do not have a hard date on that, but it's in progress. It's as soon as possible. So in a future update, that will be coming. Here, though, in this last page for the details, you have now a more clear what this following button does. You have the same inactive and active buttons. You have your answers, you have your notes, you have some tool tips on what to include in notes that did not previously exist. And you can always pop open your suggestions or anything like that after the fact. And last but not least, let me go ahead and put this in here. You have the page here for work order submission, which again looks very similar to how it used to, um, although the redirect button looks a little bit different. So most of this is just styling. The workflow is the exact same. The data points that come out of it are the exact same, but it was a lot more colorful before, lots of greens and reds and blues. And now it's been designed to be a lot more mobile friendly so that it can be in the mobile experience. One other thing that's worth mentioning on that is because I have now chosen my location and I've also chosen my method of submission, which is by asset and category, Woven is going to remember those preferences for Trent from now on. So when I click submit a work order, I'm going to start on step 3 because Woven already knows that I am putting this in at a certain location and that I like to see the asset list. If I don't want my account to behave that way, I do have under work order settings the option to configure it to start on any step. So I can instead have it always have me select my location, always select my creation method, or always start at the asset list. Let me just show you what that looks like. If I go to step 1, just to show you, now it's going to always start me here. This is a global configuration, so it is for your account as a whole. So it's something that I would suggest talking about with internally with your teams and see what's appropriate for you. The default here is that it remembers your location and your method of submission and starts you on step 3 after your very first work order. And that's going to apply, I think, to most use cases like your club managers, but maybe not apply to folks that are corporate employees that have all location access, right? Cool. That's a huge update. I go in a ton of detail in that blog post about all of that with screenshots and the why behind it. So I do encourage you to read that if you have the time, but otherwise, that is an overview of that new functionality. Okay. Some other things in here, though, that are also, I think, quality of life improvements. If I just go back here. In Woven, we have kind of 2 different types of work orders, right? You have your asset work orders, which are tracked data points. I have the serial number, the console number. I know who manufactured it, right? It's a trackable piece of equipment. I probably even know how much I bought it for. Or we have what we call work order categories, which are more generalized work order. Hey, I have an issue with a wall, a ceiling, a door, a floor, but I don't know a whole lot about it besides where it is and that it's a wall, right? Those types of things, I don't know who made the drywall. Doesn't really matter, but I do need to get the hole fixed in the wall. We've always had that. Now those are a little easier to get to. You previously had to scroll to the bottom of this list to find those or know the naming conventions of what they were. So as an example, here I have one of those, just door, and I can type that. But now I can click browse categories and I'll get a nice condensed list of what my current options in my account are. That is all here as well and just makes it a lot easier to get to that information and easily put in those work orders. You also have a configuration option here if you would like to. I will show you. So here, if I'd want to, I can change this configuration here and change it to work order categories. I think this is a bit of a niche use case, but it is an option for you, which is if I now go to the experience for submitting a work order, I choose my location, I choose my method. Now I'm going to start with this list of work order categories instead of with my list of assets. Again, it is a global decision. It is a account-wide configuration on is it showing this first or is it showing the list of assets? So you have full control of that for your account. Okay. As a rapid fire, all the things really chat heavy in this first release or so, as we promised to have all kinds of brand new functionality in the Woven chat experience now that it is our own. There are more things to come. AI summary is a preview of that. We'll be doing at least one of these types of calls every month where you'll get to see a nice summary. So if you, for some reason, didn't have a chance to connect with your CSM and have them show this stuff to you live, feel free to join this, ask questions along the way, and then keep the good ideas coming. Almost everything that we talked about here on this call was from a current customer. and is now in product. So Woven is the quality tool that it is because of you all, and we really appreciate the feedback. Thanks for the time and the attention, and we'll catch you next time. Take it easy.